You are never alone. You are never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back after a long time in the episodes of Ramadan and the Happy Feast, the Eid. Now we are back to the usual rhythm of life and the first episode after this big season, religious season, full of good things and full of many of the ways to worship God and to help others. Still, we are in this program are insisting on helping you, helping everyone in the family, every family member. This is the program of the family. Every individual, the father, the mother, the wife, the husband, and the children. We want to solve the problems. We want to give a hand to those who are suffering or those who are not so much skillful in going on in their family lives as family members. They cannot play their role well. By the way, I was the last week abroad, out of Egypt. I was in Paris in one of the big conferences about psychology and psychiatry and behavioral problems and what's called the science of brainology, everything related to the brain and to the way of thinking and to discover genetic factors that affect the way we think, the way people all over the world deal with different issues in life, politics, household, emotions, and so on. Unfortunately, the topic today was not that much tackled in that conference, in spite of being a big one, a grand one. It was full of doctors and specialists and experts from all over the world, and it was done in Paris by the European Union. Today we are discussing a very important part of the styles of life in our families in every country. If we consider the concept of the orchestra, those who are playing around your children, let us call them playing, and you are the conductor or you are the maestro of this orchestra. This orchestra might be formed of teachers, trainers or coaches, sheikhs or religion people who train our children to learn Quran. There are many people, but actually in this episode we are discussing special types of people, close persons who are in our homes, under our ceilings, surrounding the children. We chose them by ourselves. Maybe we chose them according to some criteria, like for example, how much salary they are going to be paid. Maybe according to the relations to some people we know. Maybe through classification systems, through formal offices, making people who are working as servants or as nannies for our children, or drivers or cookers or porters, and so on. Those people are very nearby. Sometimes people, rich people, have a big deal of this orchestra. They have more than one cooker, they have drivers, they have, as I said, more than one nanny, housekeepers, babysitters, and so on. So it's an orchestra. It's a big teamwork that is cooperating in order to reach the optimum service to this family, or actually mainly to the children, to make them grow as ideal citizens and good thinking people. The effect of those people on our children, that's the point. Some people think that this, of course, is something that's very important, and it's very beneficial to have a cooker, to have one who serves me, to have someone. This is very, of course, beneficial. However, if those people were not chosen by the right or on the right way, or the maestro, you, the father or the mother, didn't choose them with a point of view in your mind that you are bringing them just to do the service they are brought to, or in addition, it might be a good chance to train our children to treat a sample of people all over the community around us. It's really a chance. As you know, also the pets, animals, when you bring animals at home, not so many people do this at their homes, but those who brought animals in their homes, maybe they brought them because they love animals, because they love dogs or cats or pets or whatever type of animal they are bringing to their homes. However, the point is to have the good lessons and not the bad things from this chance. So we want to use these chances in order to get the benefit to our children. So I consider this as a way of rehearsal or a way of prova to train our children to, as I said, to deal with people, to teach them so many lessons. That's what we are going to deal with in this episode. And I want to give you our telephones in order to get in contact together. Remember, our numbers are 002-0238-555-248 and 249. Ready to hear your comments, to hear your cooperation and questions about this important topic in our lives. Now I think it's better to have the break and then go on to discuss in detail and to see a very important report about those who are living around our children. So let's have a break. Thank you.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Ask Huda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can they give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity of worship. It has to be paid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in accordance with the guidance of His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Welcome back. We are now speaking about the team work, that you brought it by yourself, the family manager, the father or the mother. It's a plan. So no, it's no kidding that you can by yourself, by your choices, bring happiness to every member in your family, or to bring misery to the family. So by your choices, by your way of living, by getting my mother or my mother-in-law, my granny in home, these are the relatives, or other people serving things in our family, of course this affects the ways we are dealing with each other, the way we speak with each other, and also there are so many other factors like the cultural effects transferred from me, between me and those people, and there are dangers of abuse, sexual, physical, and so on. If we are not present and those people are present, take care of this. This is what we're going to discuss. There is another danger. I want to magnify this. What you know, nowadays they are having a new type of modality of therapy, which is called the emotrance. Emotrance means that I can have I can transmit emotions from people to other people, and this makes them maybe happier or less suffering. So I'm just taking the word. You can make emotional transmission from, for example, a caring nanny or a caring babysitter, which can emit, and she is a good resource or source of love, better than the mother. And this, of course, drags the carpet from underneath the feet of the mother, and let the children be more focused to those people. All what I'm saying now are scenarios of what may happen if you just brought people mechanically and didn't care about what's called family dynamics between the individuals. Every member or every individual in the family, you have to think before you bring him. If you are bringing someone who is a stranger or foreigner to live, there are so many rules that control this. It's not haphazard to just ask people, how much is the salary that cooker wants, and I'm going to pay him. How much is the cost of bringing a shadow teacher at home with my child? How much is the cost of having a driver who brings and comes back with the children from school? It's not that easy. You have to think and think and think, and you have to examine the person himself and have some sort of an interview to see, is he a trusted person? Can you trust him if you left the children with him? Can you be sure that your children are in safe hands, as they say? This is very important. So the perfect family is not a myth, but it needs focusing and concentration from the family designer, let us call this name, or from the planner, which of course most probably who is the father or the mother. Unfortunately, by the way, sometimes a mother, a wife, or a child, one of the sons finds, I met some cases like this, the son finds himself the designer of the family. It's not because he is so much influential, but because he discovered at a moment in time that everyone is distracted or is going in the wrong way, and he is the only one who is focusing right and knows what should happen and what shouldn't happen. And he noticed easily, or could detect easily, that the father is not treating well the children, or is doing something that's harmful, or bringing people who are not that good or for the benefit of the members of the family. So I want to start to discuss these types of persons and the dangers or the merits and dismerits or the benefits and harms of those people with us in the family. Well, actually, let us start with the most famous and common personality that meets us at home, which is usually the nanny. The nanny is the one woman, most probably she is a woman, 99%, because this is the nature of women. They like to care about children, so it became a habit that you find people all over the world, women or girls or students in the college who want to earn money by a way or another to live their lives and to make their household and so on. So they work as nannies or babysitters. So the point is that there is two channels opposite each other, one going and the other is coming back, transferring informations and transferring emotions between both of them. And this, of course, affects the way of thinking, the way of behavior, and the way of feeling of our children. Actually, we are happy to have another member in our family who most probably should be caring about the children and should be providing them with additional amount of love or a temporary dose of love and care and calmness, and to let the children feel secure until the parents maybe come back at home. Nowadays, I think I'm not so much interested in advising this advice. I mean, letting people bring housekeepers or, nannies or babysitters, because except if you are sure, deadly sure, that these people are good people, or otherwise you have to be with them at home during the time they are at home. Let me first show you a report that speaks about what I'm thinking about in the relation between the family and the housekeeper, and then we come back to discuss in detail our topic. So let's go see report.
Never alone. You are never alone.
What will happen if we let our babysitters, nannies, or au pairs take a big part of the responsibilities entitled to the mother? Definitely, a child will be very attached to her, and thus he will be confused about which one he or she should love the most, the mother or the maid. Unfortunately, we see in our societies a lot of cases in which children are attached to their babysitters more than their mothers, for they spend most of the time with them. On one hand, a child is raised thinking that the babysitter is his or her mother. On the other hand, some may get accustomed to the norms, traditions, or religious practices of the babysitter, which might not be in agreement with Islamic teachings. Babysitters are commonly found in homes, particularly if the mother is always absent or busy, or if one of the parents passes away, or if they get separated. In such cases, there should be a nursemaid or babysitter to help raise the children, since it is a big responsibility. It is worth mentioning that sometimes children are not able to express themselves clearly. Thus, they conceal some events in their subconscious which might reflect upon their future. This influence may last till adulthood. Such children might also have a continuous sense of guilt and consequently lack peace of mind and may suffer from oppression and psychological disorders. These psychological disorders may last them a lifetime, and consequently, those people will not be able to raise their children correctly in the future.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
As you have seen and as you have heard, every word in this report is very important because it reflects what really happens. It's a very sensitive part of our lives. And when our colleague was speaking and commenting about the report, he said that the children might get confused between, or as if he's asking a question, who of you is my mother? Is the biological woman is my mother, the one who delivered or who brought me to life? Or is she is that maid or that nanny or that babysitter? From where did the confusion come? I tell you, from the way, the relation. The mother who brought this babysitter or the father maybe was not that concentrating, or he didn't have good attention either to his way of treating his children or to the way of the babysitter herself. And during the course of time, during the tube of time, and in a moment, we cannot exactly decide which moment or which second this happened, but the child found his heart or his tendencies and his way he feels the emotions towards the babysitter more than the mother. Most probably this time the mother wasn't at home, and therefore those businesswomen, those women who are all the time outside throwing their children in the hugs of the maid or the babysitter. You know, by the way, certain day I had a chit chat or a mini quarrel between me and one of the maids who came to our home because she heard me speaking in the TV, but this was an Arabic program, and I was saying such opinions about people who are working at homes. And she was criticizing me, and she was angry, and she said, "You are attacking certain types of people without a reason. Why you put a title that all of us are having bad intentions towards children, towards the members of the family? Why you are speaking about us in this way?" Well, number one, I have to apologize to that lady. Number two, I didn't mean this. I'm just saying that it's the right, or I have to ring a bell and just remind everyone who is bringing someone in his home, including those maids themselves, when they receive or host others in their homes, they have to be careful. So it's a right, it's a human true right. And it's the right of my child also to have people who are safely dealing with the child and not to expose my child to dangers. And it might be a crisis when you discover once that your child is exposed to sexual problem or any type of unreasonable relation or something that is not logic. Also, some people discovered that the children were exposed to physical abuse. And by the way, when we are discovering types of abuse, let us remember, on the other hand, what's called child neglect, child neglection. In the time your child is exposed, maybe, I'm not speaking about good people. I'm now speaking about those dangerous evils or devils who come and live with us and they are having smiling faces or angel faces. And they pretend that they are caring about their children. When we leave home, they attack their victims, our children, and we are, on the other hand, making another type of crimes, which is child neglect. This is most commonly found also in drivers, porters. Why? Because they are considered very near, and they are considered as people who are very trusty, nearby home. Usually, most of the crimes of sexual abuse, of physical abuse, let us speak about sexual abuse. It mostly happens from very near people. Sometimes the relatives of the child, not someone who is abroad. Some people are thinking that child abuse or sexual abuse happens from, for example, the bus driver of the school or a teacher or something like this. No. Most of the statistics speaking about these crimes indicate that the attacker or the abuser is someone at home. You brought him by himself, by yourself. Sometimes you send your girl, your baby, your child, your teenager in a trip or to a camp, or conditions compel you to leave home and bring someone, the uncle or the aunt, or someone to live with the child until you come back. And here comes the surprise, the bad surprise, that the one you trusted is the one who is attacking your child. The friend is the enemy, and the one who you considered very trusty and you loved him and you told him, live with my child until I come back, is the criminal who attacked your child. So, number one, you need to be careful, and because you might put your child in a very bad situation. The other point, the report our friend Khalil was speaking about, was the idea of confusion, emotional, let us call it emotional confusion. The child become confused. How come my true mother, my biological mother, the one who should breastfeed me and hug me and care about me and prepare me for school and everything, is not present at the place, at home? She is most of the time away. And the most difficult point is not just the physical absence, no, it's the spiritual absence, the mental absence. The mother, the one who is considered to be the mother, is not all the time speaking to me or dealing with me or caring about me. Her mind is maybe in politics, in her hobbies, in making makeup, in going with her friends, but not caring about me. And when she speaks about this, it's very short and concise time and briefly. She said, oh, you have to care about yourself because you are going to have infection if you were exposed to cold air, so put something on it. But when you see the true caring person, unfortunately, you find that the babysitter or the nanny is the one who is speaking slowly and carefully during hugging the child, putting his head on her arms, telling him a story, giving him concepts. And here comes the other dangerous point, which is which type of concepts, which type of culture is transferred by time, slowly, in a very skillful and in a very well done way. I mean by the culture, the facial features, the gestures. For example, I don't know, but for example, some of the nannies or some of those who work in this job, when they chew gums, they chew it in a way, in a way that the child, when he loves someone and he sees this example in front of him, he imitates it, or he likes it. If he loves this woman, he's going to do like her, and maybe he's going to prefer to chew gums or to speak or to make by his fingers or his hands gestures or body language, because he likes this example set in front of him, better than the mother example, who is arrogant, not caring, distracted all the time. She is not focused on the track. And usually what is considered as a comedy, that some children try to advise their parents to be parents. Mama, I want you to give me love. Mama, I love you. Try to cheat from me. Mama, I feel angry when you leave me. I feel miserable when I feel that you are not caring about me. Are you angry about me? Did I do something wrong? All these questions come in the minds of the children. And I so many times saw in my clinic letters or drawings by children who are inviting their mothers or trying to express their love to their mothers, but however, mothers are not understanding, or they are not attentive enough to understand what's behind these letters and what's behind these drawings. I remember once a mother came to me and she was astonished how checking and examining in her mind the trifle letter written by her child. I'm looking at it like this and like that and exploring it and see the heart drawn and the star here on the other side and the words written by. She said, what are you looking? What are you doing? Why you are so much caring about this? I told her, this is the translation of what's in the heart of your child, who you are speaking about him with me now in the clinic. Let's go to the break and come back to complete our topic about people around our children.
Never alone. You are never alone.
Ark of Noah.
We're going to be mentioning the significance of the Ark of Noah.
Knowledge is the essence of everything. Once you get the knowledge, then it generates the desire and the motivation, and then it brings about the action.
And we're going to be discussing the state of the Ummah and the division which unfortunately has appeared in it, and the methodology of trying to arrive at the right path.
Your system of knowledge or your system of motivation are hit by any of these threats, you will definitely go astray and you will be suffering from a disease in the heart.
We're also going to be discussing what Allah wants from us.
How can we make that? Allah gave us the revelation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing first and foremost the companions. If they believe in what you have believed in, then they are guided. So the real guidance is what the Prophet ﷺ and the companions were upon.
Join Sheikh Mutassim in the program Ark of Noah and discover the answers to these questions. Dear viewers, Hoda programs can be watched in the English section of the in-flight entertainment directory on board all Saudi airline flights, domestic and international. Sit back, relax and enjoy watching Hoda's entertaining and enlightening shows on your trip. Hoda wishes you a safe and successful journey. Hoda, a light in every home.
The tension there, what about the North Korean nuclear program and the six-party talks? How will the tension there affect a relationship between US and China?
They did that early in 1993, and after long discussion and negotiation, finally they stopped the program.
Will the world be able to stop this flow of secrets? Will it affect international relations? Or where there is simply basic known facts for most experts and most diplomats?
And we don't know if there is more to come. It's information war.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Welcome back in Family Issues. As we have mentioned in this episode, we are speaking about what's called I'm not alone. I mean, me, the child, I'm not alone because maybe in this family there are other people other than the true or the biologic members of the family. And we meant by this the so many employees that might be working in home for the service of the home, like the servant, the housekeeper, the nanny, the driver, the porter, the teacher, special teacher, those therapists that might come at home to teach my child speech therapy, to modify their behaviors. Of course, it's going to be something that's very funny to find or to conclude or to discover that the one I brought to teach my child behavioral modification or to teach my child religious values is the one who is committing a crime, a great crime with my child who is very innocent. And this is not fun, it's true. And I have so many cases like this. Unfortunately, you might discover that the devil is the angel. So what I'm insisting on is to push parents to think, to give themselves chances to think. I'm not saying by this that you have to be suspecting everyone coming to your home. But in the same time, you cannot make your home as a pension or an hotel that everyone, or a hotel that everyone goes and comes from it without any supervision. So, for example, someone who is living with his mother or mother-in-law at home, of course we cannot, sometimes you cannot do anything in this, because this is the destiny, this is what God chose to us. These are relatives, these are our mothers. It has nothing to do, of course, with sexual abuse. But in spite of this, it might happen in some countries, very minimal percentages. But for example, physical abuse. Sometimes the way I speak to my grandmother, or the way I speak to my mother-in-law, the mother of my wife, in a bad way, and she answers me in a bad way, this is in front of the children. Are you satisfied about this? This is the way your children are raised. This is the environment. This is the environment. They see you, they hear you wearing, for example, your underwears and walking at home. They smell you when you're having bad smell. They hear you when you're insulting and not respecting those who are older than you. So how come you ask them to respect you? All these are lessons we teach people from the situations they are living inside. I think it's a good experience that, for example, you are having a cat at your home, or you're having a dog. It's a good chance to teach people, or to teach your children to have mercy, to have care about animals. In religion, I think there is one of the hadiths for Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, which says that everyone who cares about a creature or a spirit with a wet liver is going to have so many good things from God. This is an indication or reflects how Islam is caring about animals at home and pets. Unfortunately, you find I was so embarrassed when I met one of the consultants from abroad in one of the conferences here in Egypt, and we were speaking together, and I told her, what's your opinion about Cairo? She said, well, everything is good, in spite of two things. Two things were so harsh to me. The first is the traffic. The cars going here and there, it needs like a circus. It's looking like a circus. The second thing is that she saw someone who is spanking a donkey with a stick, a wooden stick, in a very harsh way, unmercifully. And of course, this is not Islam. This is not the way we've been raised in this community. But unfortunately, these are individual behaviors, or sometimes we can say that it's the morals or the habits of a big deal of people. We are not denying this. But the point is that if you bring one of these people at your home, and maybe he is in the same room of your child, he's going to transfer to him this bad way, or this bad way of speaking, bad way of eating, bad way of wearing clothes, bad way of dealing with other people, dealing with animals. So you have to be careful. Of course, you have to be careful. We don't want to cause family trauma. We don't want to make family misery. We are planning to make happiness. This is the main target and goal of all Muslims in their families, and all the families all over the world, in the humanity. Everyone is planning to live happily. And it's your right. This is not a taboo. This is not a ban. But how come you do this? I know, and I'm proud of, that some other people in our countries refuse to bring anyone at their homes. She says, a mother, for example, she says, no, I am the only one who touch the skin and the back of my child. I do not let anyone touch him from abroad. And it reached to the degree that some of our mothers, and I think this nowadays is an international way, that mothers prefer breastfeeding than formula feeding or bottle feeding. Many wives and many mothers are fighting and insisting to do anything in order to protect breastfeeding and not to be compelled to have bottle feeding or formula feeding. And this is very good. Now, you know, the most recent recommendation of the WHO, the World Health Organization, is to breastfeed your child for 6 months, the first 6 months of his life, exclusive breastfeeding. Exclusive breastfeeding. No any other type of maybe anything edible can be introduced other than milk. Again, as regards the culture, you can transfer arrogance. You can transfer to your child by bringing someone. You know, the aim of bringing maybe a driver or a cooker is to teach your child the lesson of humbleness, not arrogance. I brought him, and therefore sometimes you find children look at their mothers when they are speaking to the servant, speaking to the nanny, insulting her, maybe spanking her, maybe slapping her in her face, you know, doing anything bad. Very bad quality of this is not in Islam, not in Christianity, not in any other human religion or even human rights or human habits. But unfortunately, some people think, those Novo-Reach people, think that it's his right to insult people and treat them as slaves. I'm not speaking about, this is not my topic today. The topic is that this is happening in front of the eyes of my children. They are drinking, they are absorbing these habits. And automatically they are going to make it with other people. They are going to export this to the others, to the outer community. And this is your fault. It's not the fault of the child. And you, in every crime the child is going to commit, whether sexual or verbal to people or by body language, making bad gestures to people, to transfer messages that we are people, we are princes, we are not slaves. You know the way I'm speaking about? This transfers these messages. Of course, every one of the children or every one of your children is having bad idea from other people, and he is doing something wrong, of course, to the community, and you are joining him, even if you are not physically existing with him in the situation. So the question is, the presence of these people, is it an addition or it is a subtraction? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? How are you calculating the mission of these people? Do you calculate it by money way, financial way, money-wise? Or do you look at the topic in the way of services, for example? I mean, the quality of the cooked food, the cleanliness of the diapers, the way that the driver could protect or drive the car in a good way, but you are not looking to the human side, because you are not bringing a robot. You are not bringing a robot cooker or a robot driver, or as nowadays they are thinking about what's called the virtual drivers and the virtual keyboards, and you know, this version of electronic era is coming nowadays. I'm not speaking about this. I'm speaking about the human reflections on our behaviors and what is happening in front of the eyes of our children and beside their ears. What they are hearing, what they are seeing, what they are smelling. Is the woman you brought to your home is clean enough to teach your children to be clean? Some people are caring about what's called the etiquette, or the ways ways that elite people deal with each other. It's not bad. Of course it's not bad. But on condition, you have to supervise these habits or these ways that people do, because in between the lines might be something very bad is happening. And I cannot forget the sadness and the grief in the eyes and the tears in the eyes of one mother who came to me at the office, and she was telling me the story of the two African nannies she brought to her two little daughters. And this was since, for example, 1 year. And at the end of the year, she's a businesswoman. At the end of the year, she's trying to get her children back, but they are refusing, in spite of being at the same home. But they like to live and to love the two African caregivers because they are very caring, they are very emotional, and they are having a great deal of mercy, more maybe than what the mother has. The mother has a big amount, of course, of love, but some mothers close the closet and they put it, they never get it out. I don't know why. Why they are doing this with themselves, with their children. You have to open your heart, to open your senses, to open your hugs, and to take your children inside, to give them sense of security, give them love, and let them distribute this and infuse this in the community and be sources, focuses, foci of love all over the community. This is our duty. And Islam, if we are speaking about Islam, Islam ordered us to do this. We are ordered to infuse mercy all over the world to those who we know and those who we do not know. And if you remember what Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, that you have to say Salamu Alaikum, or you have to salute, or you have to say hello by the name of God to everyone you know and everyone you don't know, if you are passing in front of him or you are coming back forth in front of him. Unfortunately, some of the proverbs in our community nowadays is saying the opposite. They say, the more you salute or the more you say hello, this is very bad to the relation. It's not a good thing. Of course, this is some sort of a miss in the concepts in the minds of the people. And there is a very important word said by one of those who were serving Prophet Muhammad, and peace and blessings be upon him. His servant, the one who was close to him for a long time, for so many years, when they asked him how Prophet Muhammad was treating you, he said one word. He said, well, he didn't ask me at any time, why did you do this? And he didn't ask me at any time, why didn't you do that? So, to end or to close this episode, we want to say that also we have to use these people. Maybe I'm not in need of a cooker, but I'm in need of a person who is maybe less socio-economically than me, and just to bring him at home, to let my child know how to be humble, how to respect people who are less than you. So we have, I think time is over, so just I want to give you our email, and I'm waiting for your questions and comments afterwards, because I think it's time to go. So our email is familyissues@huda.tv. Again, familyissues@huda.tv. I hope that this episode was adding something in your minds. Good, of course. And I'm waiting to see your response. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your